Back yet again. I thought this was the first time I thought I might not get this live show off. We had a pretty good run for about 4 weeks straight. We were doing really good, and tonight I actually had this all lined up, and at the last second, basically everything fell apart. The computer crashed, the Wi-Fi went down. This is about like 25 minutes ago, so we are about 8 minutes late tonight. But I do have a pretty cool guest on tonight. Somebody doing big things right now. They're just getting set up with the link and whatnot. Can everybody? We've been having some really bad audio lately. If anybody wants from YouTube land or Facebook land, if anybody wants to go ahead and drop a comment, let me know how the audio is. If you can hear me, if you can see me. Comments are working. Chris Zaleski's on. What's up, guys? Just grasping at straws here, trying to get the live show off. Just trying to get through these technical difficulties and whatnot. But from what I can tell, it's working as long as everybody can hear me and see me. So we'll give the guest a couple minutes here to get on. I gave him just a hell of a team player tonight. I gave him about 3 minutes. I'm not kidding. I gave him 3 minutes heads up. He is across the country right now. I believe he was just getting ready to go to bed. He's probably struggling through getting logged into the old StreamYard here, the broadcast that we use. So I'm going to take a minute before he gets on. And everybody that ordered shirts and hats and decals, I can't thank you enough. I was straight shocked how many orders we got. I picked all the stuff up last week from Anderson Enterprises. They do all of our shirts and whatnot for us. And I got home with like 2 tons of clothes, and I had that stuff scattered everywhere in the basement. And the wife's like, honey, you said we were going to ship a few things, and I was not prepared. I was like, yeah, we're going to need a bigger boat. So needless to say, we got 90% of the orders are out. I just picked up the last of it today. So if you haven't got yours yet, you will have it this week. The last stuff is being shipped out tomorrow. So looks like our guest is on. If you're into YouTube, you've probably seen him before. If you're into Motion Raceworks, you've probably seen him before. Or if you're into Drag Week, Rocky Mountain, what else? What else am I missing? Burnout competitions, all of the above. So nonetheless, James Schauer from Build Tune Race.
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, dude. Good. Busy, tired, ready for another long day tomorrow. So.
Right on. When did so just so if anybody doesn't know, you're in Florida right now.
Yeah. So I left last Thursday or something, came down here, got everything ready, came down, worked on some stuff throughout the week. I filmed Lay Mullets, put together a video for Motion, did all that stuff. Been here working on all of our Black Friday sale stuff throughout the week, and now getting Bernie ready to take on the Burnout competition tomorrow at Cletus and Cars. So
awesome. So you were down,
all the things.
So you were down there last week for Le Mullets then too.
Yeah. So I drove down from Colorado with Bernie in tow, got down here, it worked out, back-to-back weeks and doing some stuff. So it was worth the trip, a little bit easier to make instead of driving all the way down for an event, driving all the way home, drive down and be able to get 2 events out of the trip. So a little bit easier on the whole justification of making such a long trip with a truck and trailer, but it's going to be worth it, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%. So your audio is crystal clear. Your video is frozen from about a minute ago.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
So I can't really read your facial expressions, but we'll keep rolling with it, and hopefully the Florida Wi-Fi comes back in a hurry.
Yeah. I tried the whole phone thing. I don't know if that was the move or not. I could jump on the laptop too, but
sure.
I got my earbuds in, even though you can't see them. Maybe.
Right. Yeah, I can see you. We're froze from a little while ago. Oh man. So I don't even know where to start. You've had so much stuff going on the channel lately. Let's start with the bad news first, good news second. So I was kind of following the end of the year. You got Salty back out.
Yeah, that was a bittersweet moment, I guess, in the whole situation. But
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I wanted to get it back out. I wanted to just run it out the back, raise the rev limiter. Thought everything was good with the car. Last time I took the car out, everything was fine. Did all my yearly maintenance like I normally would have. And yeah, things didn't go quite as planned. So I still haven't pulled the heads off of it. Plugs look bad. what happened last time when an injector went bad and it ate a piston. A similar situation happened, but not as bad. So I don't know. It's not good in there one way or another. It's not the best. So
Right. Well, you had plans anyhow, didn't you, for maybe some upgrades or something at some time?
yeah, the plan was to hopefully sell a good long block and upgrade the 6-bolt combo, but I don't know. Bernie might have a 408 load. I might just repair this thing and beat on it in the burnout truck in the future too. So I don't know, or put it back together. Really, the plan was to leave the stock block 408 in it, build all of the 6-bolt stuff, like what I would want for the 6-bolt combo, like a twin turbo kit, change up the hot side, rewire the car, lighten it up, do all the things that I could do. And then once I could afford a 6-bolt long block, then just popping it in there and having everything else kind of around it ready to rock. But
right.
I don't know what the plan is exactly at this point. So
well, at least you got a little bit of winter time to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, we're all used to winter hitting, and that started like 2 months ago, and now I'm in Florida doing stuff, so it doesn't seem like it's as long of a winter as it used to be. But yeah, I mean, it'll be good. Get through the holidays and stuff, and then I'll have definitely a couple months to pull the car apart, do some stuff. I mean, it doesn't have to be ready first of the year. I'd love to try to take it on race week next year. Everybody on the channel and the YouTube comments, not everybody, but quite a few people, when you taking Salty, when you gonna take the Camaro, all that stuff. So I mean, I've done it. I've taken the easy route with the Mazda and stuff the last couple of years, and it's watching everybody else doing it. It's time to challenge myself with taking a hot rod like that on the trip. So.
Definitely, I feel like they'll race week, drag week, whichever one fits you. I feel like that's kind of
Sure.
It's like every race car guy's kind of bucket list item. I don't think there's anybody I've ever talked to that says no, I don't want to do that.
No, 100%. Yeah, maybe somebody that doesn't have a car that can't make it to Sonic without overheating. That might be the only person that's against it at the moment. But man, and anybody that thinks like I want to do that and they feel that they want to do it, I can just tell you it's 10 times better than what your wildest dreams can imagine. It's you go in excited, you go in thinking it's going to be cool, and you leave just over the moon about it. It's one of the coolest events you could ever do with a vehicle. I mean, if you've ever been to a multi-day car event, you think it's cool, right? You show up the one day, you go do it. The next day, you go do it. 7 days, day and night, you're in your hot rod. You're driving around. You're driving with other people that like hot rods. You stop at any moment along the route, 50 hot rods are going to pass you. Get back on the road, and you're probably going to pass 50 other hot rods that are parked along the side of the road. So it's like a constant parade of like the baddest cars on the planet. And I don't know how you top that at the end of a week of doing that. You want to take a breather, you want to get a little bit of sleep, but you're ready. Like I could do a month of that. I'd be wore out and beat, but man, I would do it because it's just like that. It's the greatest time ever.
It's got to be, and I love all the guys that are coming out with YouTube channels now that do it. Because before, like when Drag Week first started, you were kind of at the mercy of watching either like Hot Rod's recap when they got back, or maybe a couple guys had some coverage or a magazine or something. Where now you got guys like you and Cletus and everyone on that Drag Week, like Stapleton, like all these guys are doing daily vlogs. Which for me, if somebody that's not on it, it's like the best thing ever. I get to live vicariously through you guys every single day. You feel like you're actually in the action watching it. You're not just waiting for some Hot Rod magazine article to come out 2 weeks later.
Yeah, and I mean that's the great thing I love about YouTube, right? You have the ability to put whatever out whenever you want it. So it doesn't have to go through production or somebody giving it the okay or whatever. But I mean, if you guys follow that and you enjoy that type of stuff, for anybody that hasn't ever done a YouTube channel, I mean, when you drive 10 hours in a car, then you go race it, and then you get out and you edit a video. And then, I mean, I try the other guys that do it daily or get help or whatever. It's an insane amount of work, and it's cool that everybody's enjoys watching it. They feel it. What's really cool is when somebody can watch that video the morning of from the track prior or 2 days prior, and they see it the next one. They're like, man, I was just watching that video. How's it running? Like, is it okay? Is something hurt? Are you having issues? Did you get that thing figured out? Like, and they're right along with it. They understand the story. On race week, Adam Dory does an amazing job announcing for everybody and trying to follow everybody's stories to relay that to the people watching.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just a big group of people, and it's amazing. So yeah, it's super fun. I mean, it doesn't get much better.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about going to a lot of races and stuff, and I think that's definitely the one that comes up probably every 2-3 weeks. It's a conversation about how can we do it? What car do we take? Do we take all the cars? Do we take one car? You know, it's got to be one of those. It's kind of like going on vacation when you're a kid. You know, I feel like most of the excitement is probably leading up to the day you leave. You know, like you almost don't want it to be over. I bet, but.
I tell everybody that wants to go do it, they're like, should I? I was like, yes, and you won't regret it. And I understand, like, financially it's a stretch, time off of work it's a stretch, but whatever somebody has to do to put it together to go, you will not end that week and wish you did not do it. The people you meet, the memories you'll have, the stuff you saw, like, I promise anybody that's a true hot rodder at heart will not in that week be like, you know, I don't know if I'd do that again. Like, it just hooks everybody. It's crazy.
Right. How could it not? I mean, every time we go out of town for like a 2 or 3 day race, I don't know about you. Well, you kind of do get to you kind of are living the life now. But like when we go out of town, I forget. You know, like when we go to LS Fest and stuff, I forget that I'm a normal guy with a normal job. You know, by Sunday you yourself, you do this for a living, and then you're like, oh crap, I got to go back to work. I have to go back to being a normal guy. I love the multi-day events. Get a hotel, drive across the country. I've never had a bad time.
Well, you bring up LS Fest, and I mean, that ranks definitely up there as far as events for me. And that whole, like, go to the track, enjoy it, hang out with everybody, then go back to the hotel and everybody's around hanging out. It's like race week is that for 7 days straight. Like, period, the end. And then there's a whole other dynamic to those events where when you're traveling, the people that come out of gas stations that haven't seen a car drive through town, because you drive through some of the smallest, most desolate towns out there, and they're like, I haven't seen these cars. What are you guys doing? Like, you bring so much joy to others, and that part's
definitely. Yeah, it's super cool seeing all the people lined up and whatnot, taking pictures and video.
Yeah.
So speaking of going through, have you ever been pulled over on race week?
No. I usually when we're traveling with the pack of hot rods, you know, like some of the cars, like the Buick went on it. I mean, we can do 70, 75, but for the most part, you're kind of cruising at not extreme high rates of speed, but every once in a while, there's that dude in that CTSV that, you know, can cruise real fast. And they usually go ahead and find the cops for us. And then we just mosey on by on down the road. So it hasn't been bad. You know, and you would think that, street legal, cops and this and that. But usually when you're traveling with a pack of 3 to 5 cars, I don't know if they're really going to pull you over and bug you. You know, it's just like, and if they pull you over, they're going to have 50 other cars just like you pull by. So chances are, if you're not the first of the day or the last of the day, they've already been seen, and you're just another one in line of the 200 and whatever cars that are on that same road that day.
Right. Safety in numbers when you're traveling like that.
Absolutely. And that's the first race week I ever did. You know, I built the Mazda stock Gen 5 motor, 6L80. I was like, super, like, no issues with this thing. Of course, came down to where I built it like over 4 months, crunch time, 4 a.m. mornings, just doing everything I could to get this thing finished. Got it. Cool. There's a few things on that car that I was like, I don't love it. Should be all right, though. Sure enough, go up, leaving, did track day number 1, doing drive day 1, leave the first checkpoint, lose brakes. You're like, man, I built the car that I was going to help everybody else and not get help myself.
Right.
So we're pulled over. I'm sitting there trying to fix the brakes, and all these cars keep pulling over from race week. And finally, somebody's like, hey, just a heads up, if you guys are good, give everybody a thumbs up. Thumbs up, they'll keep cruising. Thumbs down, you need help. Man, I needed like a crowbar, so I gave a couple thumbs down. Like 10 cars stopped. What do you need? What are you doing? And then I left. I dropped the cap off I forgot to put the cap on the brakes after you bled them. It fell off. I had like 12 people walking the road helping me try to find the stupid cap. And I was like, this is the coolest, just because the camaraderie of the racers and people. It's like one man down. Everybody's there to help you get back on the road.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that you go to any race events like that and then put these guys on a 7-day trip, and it's got to just multiply it by 100. You know, the willingness to help and everybody working together.
Yeah, you don't beat it, man, and you need to come do it. I know if it's on your mind, you just figure it out and make it happen. I'll make it easy for you. It don't matter what you bring. You can bring your daily driver, and you can have fun. If you watch Motions deal with Wally, like straight up, it doesn't matter what you even are in. Just figure out a way to come do it. It'll be worth it.
Definitely. Somehow of all the vehicles I follow on Race Week, that ended up being like my favorite one. I feel like everyone that watches YouTube turned into like this huge Wally fan all of a sudden. I've never seen so many race car guys pumped to see like a 12-second pass. I mean,
dude, all the comments under freaking Motion's YouTube channel. Where's Wally? When's he coming back? What are you guys doing with Wally? Like, Doug's out driving his badass Nova, and everybody's like, "What about Wally?"
Right.
all right. You know.
They want.
Oh yeah, they love it.
The turbo small block Ford with the 9-inch outlaw bumper on the front of Wally and the whole 9 yards. I mean, you can't stop now. It's like Motion has dug a hole and they have to continue with Wally. I mean, the people will riot if you don't.
No, exactly. I mean, that's what it is. That's what the people want to see, and that's what we'll do. I mean, there's people like, just the car ran its course, and it's like, no, like it. If that's what they want to see, that's what I mean. One way or another, we're going to figure out a way to do something.
100%. It's got to keep going.
It's wild, dude. It's crazy, the YouTube dynamic of the cars and the people. And I mean, you deal with it. I've dealt with it. Motion's a whole nother thing of it being a business doing it. It's awesome. I love it.
Right.
It's cool.
It's crazy how YouTube is like its whole own race community. You talk to people, and if they're into it, they know all the channels, they know all the cars. Yeah. And then you'll talk to somebody, be like, "Oh, such and such channel," and they're like, "What?" they don't even go on YouTube. They have no idea.
None, zero. And then you can get them hooked though if you recommend this or that. They're like, "Oh yeah, I went back and watched all of them or whatever." It's pretty cool. It's amazing for the car community, and like you said, that's what kind of Race Week's turned into, is a bunch of people with YouTube channels. I mean, it's like 5 or 10 or what, but everybody trying, everybody doing it. Whether you get 5 views, 500 views, 500,000 views, it all helps the event. It helps the people. It's a good space, and it's fun. I mean,
definitely.
At the end of the day, that's what we're all doing. It's fun. You might beat your head against it and get frustrated, but
yeah, I think anybody with the channel has definitely been there before, staring at your analytics like, what did I do wrong? I swear I did the same thing last week and it was great.
It worked, and yeah,
here we are.
My gosh dang algorithm.
I know. It used to bother me for a couple of days. You try to figure out what went wrong, and now it's like, whatever. I move on
to the next video.
I do want to bring that up a little bit. So I started watching your channel. You probably, I swear it was like 2,000 subscribers, and you just went over 10,000 recently, right?
Yeah. So I mean, for anybody out there that hasn't, it's not a. I mean, some people can grow it fast. I've going on probably, I think November 17th, 19th. Yeah, this will be 3 years pretty much. And I mean, I'm at 10. So it took 11 months to get to 1,000. And then, it definitely snowballs. Is probably, 3,000 after 2. And now it's over 10 at 3. And so it's, it's little steps. And like you said, you look at it but yeah, man, you reached out and then you started doing your stuff, and it's awesome. There's so much out there for everybody that it's not limited. I mean,
oh, definitely. As big as the car YouTube seems, if you ever take a step back and look at YouTube as a whole, it's such a small percentage that's actually car. Yeah. Like there's not. It feels like there's a lot of content on YouTube, but then you start narrowing it down to like even a smaller niche, like drag racing, and then you narrow down to no prep or 8th mile or LS stuff, and there's really not that many. Because
not at all.
Like I'm always looking for new channels to follow, and you'll find them, but it's not like if you're trying to find how to build a Lego set or something. There's 10,000 channels or video game channels. There's a ton of those. But yeah, I get super excited when I see a new channel pop up.
YouTube and car stuff is not for the faint of heart, because we all run stuff, we break stuff, and if that car right behind you is your content horse, and you need to ride it for a while, it's hard. It's not just go buy a new iPhone and unbox it. I mean, that's not the game that we play. But each and all their own. I mean, that's the cool part. And I love that everybody has their own aspects, you know, that everybody, like, my trying to do the build tune race, I try to bring some people value with the tuning aspect of things, which I'm no professional tuner. I don't claim to be. I just show what I learn and what I know. And it's done well for me. So, I've held a lot of people, you know, hey man, thanks. I purchased the system because I felt after watching your videos, I could at least try. I could at least attempt. And I'm like, if that's one more car being built or even modified or whatever, thanks to them seeing something and feeling that they can do more because of what they watched on my channel, I'm like, mission accomplished. As far I just want to see the car community grow and do stuff. That's
100%.
it.
That's how I found your channel originally. Was I think I went to YouTube and I was like, how to tune Holly EFI search. It was like the third one, and this is 3 years ago when I don't want nothing against any tuners or anything, but it wasn't widespread information. People weren't quite as willing to like say, hey, here's a video, here's how to do it, you know. And you were one of the few channels that was showing like, hey, this is how I do it, kind of step by step. Where somebody like me, I had just bought an HP, I had never even been in Holly before. Whereas I was able to learn something, like you said, give some back. And yeah, that's how I found yours. But yeah, I get comments sometimes from people, and they're like, "Yep, I put together a junkyard LS with some Chinese turbo on it. I went racing because I saw your channel." They're like,
it's the coolest thing ever. Yeah,
right. Like that's insane that I had that much of an effect on you. Like you should think twice before you watch my channel and make these kind of decisions.
But don't follow what I do. No, it's cool, man. That's what I mean, and it's just normal people. It's grabbing a camera, and it's a whole lot of work on the back end, but that's it.
Right. And that, like you said, too, with the work behind it is kind of wild sometimes, you know, trying to put together like a 10-minute video or like you said, when your bread and butter breaks, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I went through that this year. I broke the car, like first race out. I mean, I went through the winter. I didn't do nothing. I was like, I got this in the bag. This thing's sweet.
Everything's good. Next year's going to be perfect. Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. Like second hit down on I-29 testing, brake tranny, whatever. So I did the old push in the corner thing, and I didn't think nothing of it. And, 2 months in the year, I'm kind of like, YouTube's kind of getting stagnant. And I'm like, God, what's going on here? And my old man calls me, who is one of those people that had never been on YouTube, and now he follows like 10,000 channels. But he's like, hey, you got to fix the car. He's like, I'm speaking for the masses. You have to fix it. I'm like, okay. So me and him drove the next day and bought the tranny. But it's kind of one of those things where, as frustrating as the YouTube stuff can be some days, it's also a motivator. Like, there's a lot of stuff I don't know that I would do if I wasn't like, well, there's like 14 people watching me. I can't just give up now. But
yeah, I mean, it's a cool thing. I mean, a good story that I kind of have from it, and it's not, I've never been one, I want to be the famous or the whatever, but it's the people that they recognize you, but then they have the story of why they followed you, what it is, right? And that part I really enjoy, is because like everybody has their thing. I'm working on this. They want to tell you about their car and everything, and that I love it. I love the stories. But I was like, when's going to be the first person like that notices me out and about or whatever? Like, when's that going to happen, right? You kind of wonder. And like, so I start with motion. I go to Lights Out in Georgia a couple years ago, and this dude, hey mate, a guy from frickin' Australia was the first one to like pick me out in public. And I was like, if that doesn't say something about the whole like world and YouTube like community and everything, is that it's just everybody. It's not your area, not your house. It's everybody. And the Australian people that follow me, from the burnout stuff to the the race week people that want to maybe do it one day, people that want to learn to tune or run the dyno or whatever. It's like, cool, this is really cool and fun, and it's just do you and have fun with it. And that's it's hard though. It's an insane amount of work. I was like, if you had ever told me the amount of hours I would have spent editing or filming and editing or staying up late nights trying to do a video for the next day, it's unreal. Like, I can't, it's crazy. And but like you said, once you get started, you can't really stop. Like, once you have that community and you want to deliver value to them, if they keep watching it, I'm going to keep making them no matter what. So.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy how much work it is. I remember before I had a channel, and Yeah, I'm sure you're guilty of this too. I think everybody on the channel's done this. You follow some channels and you're like, I could do that. I'd be huge. I need a YouTube channel. And then after about a year, you're like, oh man, these guys put in a ton of work. Especially some of these guys, like you said, on race week, they're uploading daily. I tried
Mad
that.
respect.
Oh
Crazy.
my god, I tried it one weekend. We were at a 3-day race, and it was insane. I mean, get up at 7, race all day, get done racing at 9 o'clock at night, and then you got no Wi-Fi because you're at a racetrack. So there you are on your phone trying to edit a video and get this thing loaded at like 2 in the morning just to wake up 4 hours later and start filming again. But it was fun though at the same time. Like you said, people kind of get the live updates. Funny story about this quick. How you were saying, you're there the next day and somebody's like, oh, hey, I watched the video. So we were up at Brainerd, our local track, for this big 3-day holiday weekend deal. And I was doing daily updates. And the second day, here come old Captain Tech guy, come cruise up on the golf cart. Okay, whatever. And he comes up and he's like, hey, you got to be wearing safety equipment. Or Matt does, because I wasn't racing that weekend. I'm like, yeah, we got everything. He's like, no, you're not wearing gloves. And I'm like, I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you think I didn't see it? I'm like, well, the windows are 5% tint, so I would assume not. He's like, I watched your video last night with the in-car camera. I was like, that's something I never planned on, was getting a safety warning via a YouTube video from the same event that weekend. So,
jeez, yeah, what a deal on that, huh?
I couldn't believe
give me 1 second. I'm trying to. My earplugs turned off. I touched it. Now it's playing music in the background. I got all sorts of crap going on here.
It's going far better than I assumed for the 3-minute heads up you got.
Always something, right? I mean,
right.
Geez. Disconnect, reconnect, and try again here. But no, I mean that's it, and it's gonna keep everybody honest. That's for dang sure.
Oh yeah, yep. I mean he wasn't wrong, but I didn't think nothing of it when I posted that video, and I kind of thought, well, for future reference, I'm gonna remember that. Don't post it in cars. It's something you're not supposed to be doing. Which now every time I watch a YouTube video with an in-car camera and I see no gloves, it's the first thing that comes to mind. Like, you got to put your gloves on, man. You're gonna get caught.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
So
no, it's crazy, dude. It's fun though. It's so much dang fun.
Right. I tell everybody that's like, singing ball. I'm like, please just start a YouTube channel. I swear I'll be the first guy to subscribe. Like I wish more of my friends had YouTube channels so I could watch them, because it's definitely more interesting, especially when you know someone or you've met them in person once or twice before or something, to be able to follow their build that closely.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. A lot of the friends and stuff that I have within the car community, it's from going to a street car takeover or something and meeting them in a parking lot somewhere.
Right.
They're spread out, but they have all the same interests, and that part's cool. And then when they have channels, you can follow up and you can kind of keep up with what's going on in their life, and that part's cool. Some of the best parts too is like take away the people that watch it, take away everything, and at the end of the day, I have something far cooler than a picture. Like I can go relive a day. Like when we went 200 with the Buick and stuff, I don't know, some stuff popped back and it started playing them again. I just clicked on it and started watching it, and I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. Like,
right. I mean, you're documenting your whole race career, and I've said it on camera before. Sometimes I don't even do this stuff for the channel. I'm doing it for myself because it's just something I want documented that I can look back on.
Right. Yep. No, exactly. No, that's exactly it. And it's so cool. It's right. Why wouldn't you want that? I mean, if you're one that likes photos and stuff, then start making videos, because it's cool to look back, and on the random chance that something takes off and you got a couple videos that blow up big, it could be the change of a lot of things.
Definitely. 100%. So before I won't keep you up too late, because I think there's a time difference here, but
yeah.
So you've got Bernie the Burnout truck with you, the S10.
Yep.
The last video, I think it was this morning, I watched it. It's got nitrous now.
Yep. We threw I put a dry kit, 2-stage dry kit actually on this thing. So when I click this truck into high gear, it bogs, so I can do first gear burnouts. It's got a glide in it, so I put nitrous on it. It sprays it, goes into high gear, and so I was like, I'll just spray it in the middle right there and help it out. But so Yeah, I don't know. It gained another 100 horsepower on the bottle, and now I did a test burnout today with it, and it went pretty well. So I'm pretty excited about it.
So you're spraying 100 shot at it then?
Yeah, so it has a 100 shot that I'm controlling with the Holly, and I pretty much, so if I shift that truck into high gear, it'll like drag it clear down from 7,500 like 3,500, just kind of fog it.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, I'll just spray it from 3,200 to like 6,000 and turn it off, because then it should be in the power band where it doesn't maybe need it. So I just have it dry, and it's just controlling it based off of just TPS more or less and RPM. And then I'm letting it auto spray that one, and then I have a 50 shot on the button. But the Terminator X only has control for one stage of nitrous. So if I ever grab that other button, the Holly's going to have to kick in and like figure out their fuel for me, which it's only a 50, so it's probably it's not huge, but it's not ideal either. But then the dry nitrous is pretty slick, the way that the fuel comes in and all that. And I've been wanting to play with dry nitrous tuning for since I pretty much started playing with the Holly. So
Right.
it's pretty slick. It works well.
Nice. So did you notice a pretty big difference in the test burnout today, that it didn't want to bog as bad as before?
Oh, it's straight. So before, if I clicked it in high gear, it'd go 3,500. Today I put it in high gear, and where the nitrous turns off, it's literally just riding the nitrous. It's all you just hear it like rolling on the nitrous. So it still wants to drag it down. That's not ideal. I wanted it to like turn off at 6 and still go up there to like 6,500, 7,000 in the burnout. It's a little underpowered with nitrous. It's right there, but literally it's needing to ride the bottle the whole time. So I don't know how long it's going to live like that. The whole time.
So, do you think a bottle will last? How long is the average burnout? 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
So my test skid and the standing still one in Bernie at the ice cream cruise is like right around 2 minutes.
Okay. And you think the bottle will make it through the 2 minutes?
Yeah, I think it will. I think so. I hope so. If not, I'll drop it back into first. Those burnouts were first gear burnouts where it only lasted like just under 2 minutes. So in high gear, it could be like a minute 30 burnout. It'll kill Tiger's ass.
No, it's definitely party time with nitrous now.
Oh yeah, no, I was like, screw it. It's just a junkyard 4.8, so let's just see what happens.
I got a lot of love for a lot of LS things, and the 4.8 it wins my heart every time. I think probably because it was the first LS motor I had anything to do with. A buddy of mine did it. This is probably 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
So I've always got a soft spot, and I keep looking at this notch that I'm building. I'm like, 4.8 might fit right in there.
That'd be perfect. Might as well shoot.
Right. I don't know if you can you see the screen at all right now, or is it froze on your end too?
Yeah, no, I can see it.
So Slime Kuda has a question for you.
Okay.
If you want to take a question. Are you happy with the model hub dyno that you got, or would you change something if you were to purchase it again?
Yeah, so the dyno's been good. I would say everybody I've talked to, everybody with dynos, it's not you buy this thing and it just seems to just be perfect.
Right.
Every time, no issues. Like different cars make it, different like power glides, converters, stick cars, like they all act different on this piece of equipment. So it's a pretty like steep learning curve. The hub dynos are extremely steep because you have no, like the drum isn't there to like help you have a baseline for load, and then you just add a little extra with the eddy brakes. You're adding it all with the eddies.
Right.
So on a hub dyno, it's not the easiest setup, but I've gotten it. Now it's working pretty well. In training, they kind of tell you like mostly do like gear roll-ons. And I've now, after being on a main line, doing more with mine research, talking to other people that have them. I've last couple times I've been on it, I've done all ramp runs, and it's 10x easier to like chase. It doesn't matter how much power the car makes; you just tell it the rate of speed, which isn't exactly how cars, the rate of speed changes over where it's at in the power band. But it was definitely, it makes it simpler. I guess it makes it a little bit easier. That's the way mainline does it. Dynacom has their things, and they all kind of do the similar things. So But yeah, I mean, it's taken some learning. I mean, I've had probably, I don't know, 20 cars, 15 cars on it. And I'm starting to feel pretty comfortable with all the setup, everything I'm doing, stuff like that. So if I was on it daily or weekly, I would be super comfortable at this point.
Sure. I hear a lot of the, the hub versus roller dyno and whatnot. How is the setup kind of a pain on it, or is it not too bad once you get the hang of it?
Yeah, I mean, once you get the hang of it, it's not that bad. I can see where they're both. I like the hubs. You don't have to strap a car down. You don't have a car like just cinched in, like trying to like run it. I love that part about it because the car just is on there. It takes a little bit longer, I think, setup. I mean, it's probably similar. But roller versus non-roller, you have tires spinning, you have chance of a tire blowout, you have all these straps everywhere, you have all this stuff going on. A hub, you don't have any of that. But then on a hub, it probably takes you, 1 or 2 pulls to get it like set, I guess you could say, to get everything. Like dyno day stuff where they just like throw it on, make a few pulls, not so much. Now that I'm starting to do ramp runs, hold on 1 sec. Sorry.
That's all right.
All right. So, no, I mean, so it's tomato. There's going to be people that are going to like one for one thing, one for the other. I think the higher horsepower stuff, and I don't know. I like the hubs. That's why I got it. I kind of did the research. I love the hubs for where I have the hubs set up at in the shop that I'm set up at. Is I can roll them out of the way. They can use the space when I'm not around. I can roll them back up, hook up a car, and do it. It's not, if you have like a big roller dyno, that spot it's been sitting until you can move it with a forklift.
Yeah, it's taking up some real estate and it's not moving. That's definitely where it goes for good.
What?
What? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. Somebody asked, have you tuned any fuel techs?
I haven't touched a fuel tech during the El Toro build with Motion. I pretty much figured out how to use a Haltech in about 3 days. So that was interesting. They all do the same. They just talk a slightly different language.
Right.
So, I mean, I would love to try one. I thought about putting one on my personal Camaro just to try it.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's definitely intriguing. I know I've looked at it multiple times, but it's just, once you've used the Holly for so long, you're so comfortable with it. It's hard to leave. I shouldn't even say so long. 2 years I've used it, but it's like once you learn to speak the language, you don't want to learn another language over again.
That's it. And I've had people, everybody hits me up and they're like, "Hey, you want to tune this or that?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I'll let you use mine to learn on it." I'm like, if I'm going to learn it the right way, I'm not going to learn it in 4 or 5 hours just tuning. All right, I'm going to sit there and I want to play with it. I want to actually know what's going on and what's playing. I mean, the whole El Toro deal with Motion, that was a special situation, and we all knew what we were getting ourselves into, and which those guys were insane in helping like us through it and helping me learn some of the things. I'm like, where's this table at? They're like, "Oh, it's called this." I'm like, there it is, found it, got it. Like, once I knew where the table was at, no problem.
Definitely.
I've heard of it or how it worked. Like on a Holly, the 2-step is up down. Like you have your high low on the 2-step.
Yep.
Haltech just has a number. You just pick an RPM and it does the rest for you or whatever. So
sure.
It's just like, I'm like, "Where's the low number at?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like,
yeah, why would you even need that? What's
exactly.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things from Haltech. One of the cars I'm working on this winter is a Haltech, so I'm kind of excited to dive into it.
I would totally put one on my car. I mean, after playing with it for a little bit,
right.
Wouldn't it scare me? Same thing, I think, with the with a fuel tech. Like, totally would try it and put it on there. I mean, if it was my personal car, I would put one of the others on there just to force myself to learn it, because I like learning different stuff. And if it's my own stuff, I'm not so worried if something doesn't go perfect.
Right.
But if I'm tuning something and getting paid to do something for somebody else, I want to know exactly what the heck I'm doing. I build a thing. But,
yeah, and that's anytime somebody asks me like, "Oh, should I run Holly or Haltech?" if you're not going to tune it yourself, I always say Holly, just because there's so many guys at the racetrack. Like you can turn around in the staging lanes that, you know, you could be 4 pairs from going into the burnout box, have the thing completely kick the tune out of it, and somebody within 20 feet of you will know what to do and have you ready to go. It's
100%. And I mean, look at, nobody's going to touch a Terminator X as far as pricing goes. Like $1,000, that's what I got in the burnout truck. Like you can't touch it with the little screen and everything else, other than you got to pay the $70 or $80 for the cable to talk to the stupid thing. But otherwise it's right there.
It's, the Terminator is absolutely insane. We put one in Matt's car this winter, and I mean, it's an 850 car. It's not rotating the earth, but to just throw $1,000 ECU with a harness and have it be dead reliable, you know, no issues. I mean, there's a few little, we had to kind of pick and choose, you know, going from like a Dominator or something, like, okay, what do we want to give up, or how can we do this differently? But at the end of the day, I mean, I know there's guys going in the 7s with them, you know, without
no internal data logging absolutely blows.
Yes, that is the one thing, because when he comes back from round, like if we're on a street or something where we don't have a lot of time and we have to move quick, he's getting out. I have to dive into the passenger seat. I have to reach up. I have to unplug the 3.5, because that's how we have it set up.
Yep.
Plug in the communication link, put it in the laptop, get it out, pull the card, put it in the laptop, switch over it again to get ready for data logging. It's like, oh my God. I'm like, this is way too many steps. It's so nice to have an internal logging. But I mean, I guess that's kind of what it was marketed for, though, you know, was to be, you got to give up something, right, to get down to that price point.
That's it. So, yeah, I mean, at first I was like, well, why would anybody even buy an HP at this point? And now that I've been there, you can't do positive outputs. It's only ground outputs or something, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's usually the thing I learned after I already wired it one way.
Yep, I learned that too the first time. I was like, oh yeah, you just hook it up to ground or positive. Like, oh yeah, that'll work.
Yep. I'm like, oh, this wire is the same as my car. And then you're like, why isn't it? Oh no, that's not how it works. Yep. But yeah, it's wild. I mean, and it's not even just ECUs now. I mean, turbos, ECUs, you name it. What it used to cost to build a car that could weigh 50 or something, it's like been cut in half in the last 5 years. It's insane.
Or the amount of people that can like do it on their own. Like if you're willing to spend 40 hours online looking at things and figuring and kind of understanding and then taking baby steps to learn it. Yep. But give somebody a stock ECU and have them try to tune that same car themselves. Like, it's still not auto, but it is way, 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 way easier. Way better. Yeah,
I mean, 5, 6, 7 years ago, if you had, let alone if you just had a street car that ran consistent mid to bottom 8s, that was something in itself, right? It was like there was that one local guy that had that car. And now, and I'm not discrediting an 850 car, but now it's like you go to the track on a heads up day or a test day, and it's the norm. And it's like,
oh yeah,
how did we get here? When I was a kid, I don't know how old you are, but when I was a kid, if you could drive your car to the track and run like 1190, that was something. Like everybody knew who you were. Like,
that's what I mean. Same thing. Like that's why Race Week, I think, throws so many people off because they're not used to having cars that don't overheat, no matter what they run.
Right. And putting pump gas in them, and it's like the whole world, you know, the whole heads up racing world has just changed so much in the last 5 years. But it's all for the better. It's what stuff that didn't used to be attainable for average guy like me or you or whoever is becoming way more attainable, you know, especially with Facebook and forums. And it's like, there's not a single question you can't answer. I mean, within minutes of a Google search.
Oh yeah. Well, and you even like, which I ran into it dry testing the nitrous on Bernie. I was like, I have it all. It's all correct. Why can't I dry too? Like, why won't it work? Why can't I dry fire it and test my wiring? Flood clear. TPS must be below 35%. I Googled it, boom, boom. I was like, I've read that before because I've been here and done this already before on another car that I tuned with wet kit. So, drop it below 35, boop, boop. Everything fires, works. Perfect.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how far everything's come.
Easy. I mean, not like I tell people, it's not a self-tuning, it's a self-learning. It helps. It does its part, but you need to give it the data to work. And if you don't understand, you should probably get some help. But if you are somebody that's willing to pay somebody to give you a good base tune, and you'll spend some time learning, you should be able to take it from there.
Yeah, it's definitely worth, if you haven't done it, paying for, like you said, pay for the base tune, get past the frustration of I can't even get my car to start, and then enjoy your car, but be able to slowly learn, you know, how to set up the bump box or how to set up this output or input as you go, instead of just trying to start from complete scratch, you know, and getting frustrated immediately.
So sensor ground goes to chassis ground?
Things like that. Right.
All the time. All the time. I mean, I did it too when I first read through it. I didn't understand what the heck they were talking about.
Oh, no. The first Holly I installed, I was like, oh, this can't be hard. I've wired a race car. Well, what I meant is I had wired my old bracket cars, you know, with a switch, no relay, just battery power through the switch and right to the component.
Yeah.
And I remember being so frustrated. I'm like, I don't know what all the 5 volts and PWM. I'm like, I don't even know what's happening here. And now I don't even open the book anymore because you do it so many times and all of these cars are the same now. It's like muscle memory to wire a sensor. But yeah, I remember being there. And he's gone. Oh, well. It was a good run. Just about perfect timing anyhow, 45 minutes. I think I'm still live. I'm not sure. No logger. I assume we're talking about the Terminator X. No, there's not an internal logger. You can log the 3.5-inch touchscreen via an SD card. On 3 turbo review. Oh, hey, he's back. Oh, maybe I can see ya.
There he goes.
Oh, there he is. He's back.
Okay. Now I'm on the laptop, so the phone is freaking out.
I figured you just had enough, you know. Had a big day tomorrow.
Well, that's it. See ya.
Yep, gotta go.
3 turbo review. That's all you.
Well, I thought you left me, so I had to start grabbing other topics, you know. On 3 turbo review, I'll say the same thing I've told everyone that asks about it. I've got 14 miles of testing on it. It hasn't disappointed me yet. It hasn't been pushed that far. After working with VS and on 3, I would go VS, customer support, parts availability, things like that. But I don't have any complaints. I fully expected the On 3 107 to implode on the first pass, and it didn't. So I have nothing bad to say about it. For the price, I think you can get a 107 on sale right now for $850. Speaking of cheap, I almost bought another one for the Mustang. So I'm like, how do you beat it? You know, and I mean, we flogged this thing on the dyno pretty hard, and it wasn't like, oh god, back pressure. Or we had to double the dome. I mean, it just kept taking it. So
sure.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's on a budget and you know they want to make 1,200 or whatever they're trying to make, I have no reserves about it. I mean, like I tell everyone too, my car never sees the street. It doesn't have 3,000 miles on it. It literally has 14 miles. So take it for what you want.
He'll let you know after race week.
Right, exactly. I'd feel a lot better recommending it if I took it on race week and survived. But I don't know. That's as much as I can say about it. Well, anyhow, I should let you get going because I think, what time is it down there? It must be 11 down there?
It's midnight here in Florida.
Oh, wow. Yep. You got a big day tomorrow. So you'll be at Cleveland Cars doing the burnout competition. I think Motion's got the bald Regal, right?
Yep.
And then Cletus has the Australian cars.
I'm excited to see Warbird.
Right. It's gonna be wild. I watched the live event last week in La Mullets. I wish there was a live feed for Cletus and cars too.
No doubt. No, that would be cool. No, he's doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and like he did that the pay-per-view burnout rivals deal before and all that. So it's gonna be. I'm excited. I mean, the burnout stuff's cool, man. Watch out for it because I think with him behind it and the Hoonigan guys and all the stuff that's going on. I mean, burnout stuff can be real. We all not long ago thought drifting was kind of not turned into a professional sport. Now look at it. So I mean,
right. Yeah,
it's real deal.
it's definitely gaining traction, and I'd be lying if I didn't say that it's in the back of my mind that maybe the Notch could participate. That was kind of the idea behind that car, was to be able to do a little bit of everything, not just a dedicated 8th-mile drag car. So we'll see. But
yeah,
well,
it's a cool deal. I enjoy it. I mean, I did my first burnout skid at Ice Cream Cruising with I don't know how many people, multiple hundreds, maybe the low thousands of people. And when you do a burnout, you get out of the car and everybody's there and lit, excited, and the energy around it's unreal.
Every car guy started doing burnouts, right? I mean, that was like everyone's first. You're like 12 years old. You stole Dad's pickup out of the driveway and you went to the burnout in it. Like that's how it started. Nobody started like, oh, I started street racing or 8-mile heads up racing. No, you started.
You got to do a burnout to start street racing. You got to get those tires. No, exactly.
Yep. So, all right. Well, I'll let you get going. I really appreciate you coming on tonight because, like I said, I was
it was good talking to you, buddy. I've been meaning to touch base with you anyway, so we'll talk soon.
For sure. Sounds good. Good luck tomorrow.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right,
See ya.
See ya.